Well, we're moving to our penultimate presentation today, and this is the winner of the display category. Please welcome Studio MK27.
Well, hello. My name is Renata Furlaneto. I'm the architecture director of Studio MK27, and I'm here to present you a Turrell Pavilion. I don't know. I'm sorry. So this is the hotel in the Maldives, Patina Hotel. We've designed from the master plan to the ID of the hotel. And when our client decided to bring a site-specific from Turrell, it was a kind of a natural sequence that we designed the pavilion. So the island has a specific situation because usually the hotels are very private, but we've decided in this specific situation to locate a portion of the program. So most of the restaurants, the beach club, an art gallery, the retail spaces, they are not close to the space, to the public. They are open and you can access, even if you're not staying at a hotel, through a marina. So when the idea of bringing the Turrell piece came, it was sort of natural for us to place it in this sort of public space. And we use it to organize this transition between what would be the private portion of the island and the public portion. And it became a sort of a landmark because the approach for the architecture and the overall island it was from our point of view to hide a little bit the architecture and use the landscape as the main feature, use nature as the main scenario. So we were not so concerned when designing the hotel to stand out, but as a Turrell piece, we thought in this case it would be important to use it as a landmark. So it's the first structure that you see when approaching the island. And at the same time, it is a lighthouse at night. So Turrell's sky spaces, they are a sort of a very simple gesture. It's a contemplation space when you look at the sky without knowing pretty well if you're looking to a screen or if it's the actual skies. It's sort of curious. So, but behind of this simplicity, there is a huge and sophisticated thinking or logic. So this is a Turrell sketch when we first presented the concept, and he adjusted what it was important from his point of view towards the proportions and exactly driving us to understand the actual decisions from his point of view and what will be important for us to respect and to design the building. Our role was to design this space around the sky space, which is the central portion of the building. So to start this dialogue, we came from the same common ground of a very simple gesture. So we didn't want the architecture to speak loud. We wanted to be respectful and not just respectful, but simple, and to create an emotion. So our gesture was to wrap the central space, creating this interstitial space when the visitor enters the building and is sort of guided to what would be the most important, let's say, emotion, which is the sky space itself that is in the center of the building. And to create as architects, from the technical point of view and what would be the emotion that we wanted to create, we wanted nothing but the facade to be holding the biggest, let's say, architectonic element, which is the roof, because the roof is what is important from Terrell's perspective. So we could not find, let's say, the same technological structures or systems from different sky spaces that usually are designed in steel or in fiber carbon. We had to bring the same logic that we used to design the hotel, which is to create something that is fabricated outside and then brought to site in containers. So we came to the same consultant that helped us. It's a Singaporean timber company called Ventura, who helped us to design this structure in wood. And after consulting with an MIT engineer and also deciding which code or which sort of line of thinking they should follow to accomplish the challenge of such a big span without the roof, central roof portion, we came up with this idea that each vertical member of the external facade should be assigned with the roof member. So all the load is distributed in each point of this, in each vertical slats. But this to work, all the elements should be tied together. So horizontal elements on the roof, like those beams, they tied the other elements, and the ridge is this red element that separates the slope between the inside portion and the outside. And to accomplish also this knife detail, we developed this folded aluminum piece that connects to the timber ceiling. Unfortunately, we had to cover it and waterproof, but the structure is really beautiful and to what is the actual detail from the design point of view. We couldn't sink the vertical elements on the sand, in the sand, but they were structural and they need to be connected to the raft foundation. So we developed a beam, horizontal beam in the bottom that wraps the concrete slab to attach the elements from the side. And we used these horizontal elements to assemble those vertical slats as panels to facilitate the assemblage on site. And one thing that is really present in our design is the way that we work with the facades and the light and creates this sort of light futures that make the building change throughout the day and make nature, this sort of boundary between inside and outside, to be dissolved and allow the nature to enter in a way. We brought the sand also to the central space, to the sky space, as the floor finishing. And the same way that we played with the light during the day, Terrells plays with the light during the night. And the building also changed shapes. Thank you.
Is that a Vitruvian baby? A really beautiful, minimal, perfectly executed project. I think it's like it's so simple that a single mistake could ruin it, and I think you just managed to avoid any trip up or difficulty in terms of doing it. So it looks effortless and perfect and pure, which is really difficult to achieve. So congratulations.
Thank you.
A very nice project, very well executed. I love the way you detailed the internal and the external. They seem to work very well. As you see the external, and when you show the images of the internal, there's a level of detailing there which is just exquisite. But also, I was wondering in terms of, sorry, as an engineer, I'm thinking, you know, the way the form has been done so that you can have that visual vertically is very well. I was wondering about the angles as to how far you go to this side of the build internally and still have that view without it being disrupted by the roof. Would be fascinating, but again, that's for another day. But more importantly, I think I like the way there's a complexity to the building, but it's very simply performed when you look at it very carefully. So very well executed is the answer. You've done a very good job.
So yeah, I like it very much, the fact that when we saw some of these final pictures, we didn't understood any difference between the structure. So there was not a structure and then one facade or one skin, but so everything is very light because there is not this difference between what is strong and what is light. The only thing that I'm curious is that you explained the project based in this Turrell drawing, talking about the sky, how this square should allow to see the sky, but you didn't show any picture of the sky, you know?
We did show.
Well, I didn't see them. You, then you show mostly these night images that are okay, but the way you explain the project, I mean, maybe I lost it, no?
1 minute. Maybe I pass it too fast.
Yeah. Okay, good. It was the first one. It was two at the beginning. Yeah, I thought it was a collage, you know? Something we need to do. Now with the artificial intelligence, we need to do something with the images because today we saw many pictures that look like renders, no? And some renders that look like pictures, no? So I thought it was a collage because it was more like at the beginning of the presentation. But yeah, again, it's very material, no? There is a very high degree of precision on how to accomplish the effects that Turrell want to produce through architecture and through detailing, no? The very thin roof and so on. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
It raises the issue of the architect or designer as handmaiden of the artistic proposition. The artist is the artist. And of course, Turrell is so well known. People like me have poked around maybe half a dozen of Turrell's installations, usually trying to poke around at the back to see how he does it. I'm sufficiently sort of prosaic to start doing things. I say, yes, it's wonderful, it's dreamy, but how the fuck? Going on behind there. You, of course, have taken that to a fine art. It's also intriguing as it returns to really a very underrated architectonic element, the pavilion. You know, very few people can really pull off a pavilion because a lot of the byways and so on are removed from you. The pavilion either has to get you or not get you. And it then comes back to this question of how little or how much the detail impinges. And I also know how difficult it is to get something that has no detail, or that you're really not, you're intrigued maybe by how it's done, but it's not running in your face. It's a very refreshing, I was going to say the last scheme, but I think there's another scheme. Would be quite nice as a sort of calming thing before we get into the debate of which of you gets the golden banana. But thank you.
Thank you.